A lot of women I work with don't feel burned out because they're doing too much. They feel burned out because they're carrying too much that was never theirs to hold in the first place. On the outside, it looks like they're handling life just fine. On the inside, they feel exhausted, disconnected, and quietly alone. Today, I want to explore why that happens and the one shift that actually creates relief when self-care isn't working. We'll come back to that in a few minutes. Hi, and welcome to the You World Order Showcase podcast, where we feature life, health, transformational coaches, and spiritual entrepreneurs stepping up to be the change they seek in the world. I'm your host, Jill Hart, the Coach's Alchemist, on a mission to empower coaches and entrepreneurs to amplify their voice, monetize their mission, and get visible. If you're ready to start attracting premium clients without chasing algorithms or hunting people down like a banshee on a mission, head over to coachesalchemist.com and schedule your free client acquisition audit. It's the first step to building a business where your clients seek you out rather than you having to hunt them down. Today, we are chatting with Courtney Osselaer. Is that right?
Yep, you got it.
Okay. I struggle with these names sometimes. Courtney is an emotional mastery and self-trust coach who helps professional and spiritual moms release emotional overwhelm, break generational patterns, and reconnect with themselves. A former pediatric nurse turned trauma-informed coach, she guides women through her root method, a nature-inspired approach to nervous system regulation, emotional mastery, and sustainable self-trust. Her work supports women in moving from depletion and survival mode into deeper connection, presence, and emotional freedom. Welcome to the show, Courtney. I'm so excited for this conversation.
I am too. Thank you so much for being here. And I already told you this, but your energy is just freaking magnetizing. It's so on fire. I love it.
Ah, it's a great day in the world.
Always.
So let me ask you the big question. What's the most significant thing, in your opinion, as individuals we can do to make an impact on how the world is going?
I freaking love this question so much. It's so deeply rooted in everything I do, not only for myself personally, but professionally. And the one thing that I think everybody, if you want to improve the world, it's improve you, right? Look inside, put a mirror up to yourself and like work on that, work on you, not just externally, but internally as well.
Yeah, it's the only thing we have control over.
Yeah,
How we look at the world, we think about things, how we approach any experiences we're having, even our
exactly.
memories. I mean, it's like we have total control over how we frame it. Can you
Exactly. And it's
change
so,
it?
yeah. And it's so interesting how, I mean, I was just having a call with a client the other day and she's complaining about her husband. And I'm like, is he actually saying these words to you? Like, you have this perception that he has these negative thoughts and feelings, but is he actually saying those words? I'm angry, I'm frustrated, whatever. And she's like, no, it's his facial expression, it's his tone of voice. And I'm like, okay, so you can't say 100% certainty that this is how he's feeling. When you ask him, are you frustrated? What happens? And she's like, well, he tells me he's not. And I'm like, okay, so do you want to trust his truth or do you want to just keep reeling in this idea that you think he's mad at you or frustrated with you, right? And I can relate to that so much because I used to be that wife. I used to be that person, and it is a direct reflection of ourselves, and we often it's what it is it's a reflection of our past experiences, right?
Mhm.
And how we see the world now is because we're looking for safety in keeping us safe from the things that hurt us in the past. Yeah.
And we sometimes will keep after somebody long enough to make it a self-fulfilling prophecy. So if
Hmm.
you keep telling somebody, their facial expressions are making me feel frustrated. So I'm having this tone with them and they will mirror your tone back. You just do it as an experiment sometime. Talk to somebody and be really excited. Today, for example, you're like, your energy is really contagious. I I'm not always like this, but I can feel energy. And the more energy I can bring to a conversation, the more amped up my guest will feel, and they'll mirror it back to me. And so we have a really great conversation. I've had conversations with people that were really struggling through something really heavy in their life. And those conversations go very differently than this one will.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's really important to note too, because even in the heavy conversations, you can bring energy to it, right? And you can bring this more I don't know how to explain that, but that's what's coming up for me is like, even in the heaviness of life, we can still see the lightness and the fun and the excitement, even
Mhm.
if we're going through crap. And
Everybody's
everybody,
going through crap.
I was just gonna say that everybody's going through crap like not all the time, but you know what I mean? Like it's always happening around us everywhere. So where can we see the light? Where can we see the fun, the exciting, the things that light you up? Yeah.
Yeah. Even if it's just, like, smiling at people or
Yeah.
making light of a serious situation. I mean, it's not always appropriate, but
For
sometimes
sure.
it is.
Yeah.
It just I'll tell you a quick story about my dad. He's 89 and he's going through chemotherapy. He's got a small tumor and he's an amazing human being and he's so upbeat most of the time. Um, really all of the time. He just chooses that every day is going to be a good day and
Mhm.
no matter what he's going through. So he's been sleeping much better. And usually he would get up around, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. And the other day he slept till 8:30. And
Wow.
he was so excited about sleeping so long. I was joking with him. I was like, you had until 9, and then I was going to come in and check on you. And he was going, yeah, make sure I'm not dead.
Yes, yes.
It's like, yeah, that was totally it.
Totally. That's what your mind was going through when you were like, wow, he's not up yet. Wow, he's not up yet. I freaking love that he was able to bring humor into his own situation. And honestly, that's what gets us through, right? That is 100% what gets us through. And you were saying like being able to feel energy and being an empath myself, and a lot of my clients are empaths. This like when things feel heavy, we
Hmm.
tend to like go down with it kind of situation, right? Because we're
Yeah.
totally absorbing it. But really, when you can learn to be grounded in yourself and not absorb all of everybody else's emotions, you then get to share your light, your love with that person, right? So maybe somebody's going through something rough and you give them a hug. Somebody that's close to you, you give them a hug. And instead of you coming down with them, you're literally lifting them up in that situation. And I think that's so incredibly important in our world.
Touch is a huge thing. It can be good and it can be bad. My husband likes to call it sharing electrons. Come on over here, honey. Let's share electrons.
I love that so much.
My husband is so funny.
Oh, I
It's
love
just
that.
like
That's so
such a
important.
great guy.
Oh.
Um,
How long
but
have you guys been married? I'm just curious.
30 years.
Yay, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. He's just an amazing human being.
Hmm.
And he's doing so much right now for me. But there are times, and 30 years is a long time. There have been ups and downs. And the reason that I know about some of these things is because, we've gone through these experiences and I've tried these experiments on him. It's like
Yes.
I've been really down and like pits of depression. And he doesn't do all these like tools and stuff. I mean, he's just like the way he is because he's a guy.
Because
He's,
he's just an
he's,
amazing man.
he's still an amazing man, but he'll say things like, I'm a guy, I don't have feelings. And so, if I'm really not feeling life, he mirrors it back to me. And then things can spiral down. And I've learned to look at it like, I'm in a victim mentality right now. And it's not going to get any better unless I do something. I'm the only one who can change what I'm feeling. I can't ask somebody else to do it for me. And it's really not fair to them to be giving them that energy.
Yeah. I was
And
literally envisioning right now. Sorry to interrupt you.
no, go.
I was literally envisioning right now, like as a mom, how often we as mothers pour into our kids because we don't want them to hurt, right? So they're going through something, they're having an emotional whatever, and we spend so much energy just like giving and figuring out what's going on and da 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 da. And not to say that's wrong. I don't think it's inherently good or bad. It just is what we do. But it exhausts us. It is literally exhausting. And then they're even, sometimes you can get them to come up a little bit or help them a little bit, but for the most part, they're in their thing and they have to work through it themselves. When I learned to like step back a minute and just like breathe myself and not let it affect me so much, it really, letting them go through their process not only is better for them because they learn how to self-soothe, they learn how to manage their own emotions, right? And then you're not exhausted and you're like, okay, you're better. Let's go have some fun, right? When they have that, when they're ready for that. So I don't know why I was envisioning that when you were saying that. I was just like, it sucks you dry as you're trying to pour into those around you that you love so much because you want them to feel better.
Mm-hmm.
But
So
it's
you can feel better
not your, yes,
as
thank
an
you for
empath.
pointing that out. Yes, it's all about that. That's why we do it because it makes us uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, thank
Because
you
we're
for
feeling
pointing
all
that
the feelings.
out.
My
Yes.
daughter taught me that. My youngest daughter. She's like, sometimes I just need to let it out, and I don't need you to solve the problem. And I'm also a problem solver, so it's like, tell me your problem. I'm going to give you the solution.
Yeah, whether you asked for it or not.
Yeah. And I've had to really learn how to just listen and ask, do you want help with this? Or are you just like wanting to process it yourself? Because some people need to speak out what's going on in their head in order for their mind to actually hear it and to come to some conclusion about what action they want to take. And we don't always have to take action right away. And for people that are just inherently doers, that's a hard place to be in. And I've had lots of kids, so
Do
some of them
you?
are,
Yeah.
yeah, I have like 5 kids.
Oh,
Um,
yay.
and they're all different and they all process stuff differently. And some of them are empaths and some of them aren't. Some of them are just like, I need to walk down this road and I don't need to tell you what's going on in my life. I'm going to figure it out silently. And that just is like, what? There's something wrong with me. Not
I
talking to
can
me.
only imagine. Yeah. Wow. Is that the one that you're speaking of? I'm assuming it's probably one more than the rest of them. Is it a boy or a girl?
Who doesn't
You-
talk?
Yeah.
It's the boy.
Okay.
And he's gotten a lot better at it because
Uh-huh.
he's married and
Yeah.
like he would not let me hug him
Mm.
for the longest time. It would be like, I'm your mother. I'm going to hug you. You're my son. Hold still. And I
Yeah.
would hug him and he would just stand there.
He's
And
like,
then,
I just have to get this over with. Yeah.
yeah, it's just totally it. And then he got married. Well, he found this girlfriend first and then he married her. But after he started dating her, he randomly came up and hugged me one day. I was bowled over. It's just like, Ryan, I loved you before, and now I really love you.
Yeah, absolutely. Is Ryan his wife?
Yes, she's his
Yeah,
wife.
absolutely. Because you're like, that's all I needed. You are in my life. I love you forever, right?
I've
Yeah.
known her for a long time. I knew
Okay.
her when she was like 6. She
Okay.
was part of a Sunday school class I was teaching in. She's been part of our life and her parents live like 2 doors down.
Oh, how fun.
So, yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I asked about if it was the boy or the girl because my son is very similar. Although he's only 10. He's still pretty young. And he can show compassion for others and express, love and things like that. But when it comes to his negative emotions, it's like I cannot vocalize this. I cannot do whatever. And I actually have a really funny, maybe it's a funny story. I don't know, but we were I was tucking him in for bed one night. This was pretty recently. And, tuck in is tuck in. And as moms, I used to be the mom that was like, just rush through this because I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I have stuff to do, I need to get to bed. But that's changed a lot since I've been doing my inner work and I'm much more present and I'm able to just be in the moment. And there's still limits and boundaries, right? We're not going to sit in your room for an hour and a half just because you want to. But he was having really big emotions and he couldn't even, he was crying, visibly upset, could not even speak a single word. Every question I asked, it was just like a shoulder shrug of these emotions are way too big and I have no idea how to express myself. And I was able to sit with him, like just provide the physical comfort, rub his back, let him know I'm there, let him know it's okay to cry, all those things. And eventually he grabbed my phone. It wasn't even in the room. So he went and got my phone and typed in my notes app and he typed one word and the word was overwhelm. And I was like, big sigh of relief because my mind was going to all these places of, are you being hurt? Are you being bullied? Are you hurting somebody? Are you wanting to hurt yourself? Like all this stuff. And this was the same week as the Charlie Kirk assassination and the
Oh,
Evergreen school
yeah.
shooting that happened. And so I was just like, my mind was going kind of crazy. And then when he typed overwhelmed, I'm like, whew, I can deal with overwhelm. Like we can handle this. It's going to be all right. But I was so proud of him for even like thinking to write it down versus that's a picture of him if you're watching the video of this like
Oh,
anyway um um to think to put words on paper because sometimes that's easier for people to get their thoughts out on paper too, right? You had mentioned some people need to process verbally. I'm one of
mhm.
those people. If I talk to my husband about something that's going wrong or something that I'm having an issue with, he'll immediately try to come up with a solution. I'm like, honey, I don't need that. I just need you to listen. That's all I need. Much like your daughter. Yeah.
Yeah, my husband's the same way. We have that same conversation. I'm going to beat this to death. Just know right up front, it, no matter what you say, I'm just going to keep still talking because I
Yes.
have to like get this
Yeah,
out so I can look at it. And
exactly.
it kudos to your son for not just having the forethought to write down what he was feeling, but to be able to identify what he was feeling.
100%.
So many kids are feeling the big feelings and they don't know what those big feelings are.
Yeah. We as parents can impact that so greatly. And it starts with, like we talked at the beginning of the episode, of like doing your own inner work so that you can actually identify your emotions and feelings,
Mhm.
right? But when I started on my own self healing journey, have you seen the feelings wheel? It's like a tertiary
Mhm. Yep.
emotional wheel. And I got a pillow with that on it. And so when he was younger, anytime he was having emotions and he couldn't quite understand, this was after he could read though, I would throw the pillow at him and be like, point to however you're feeling because I knew he wasn't going to be able to like put words to it. And he was able
Uh-huh.
to read through the words and like kind of start processing that on his own. So we as parents can help them with this. We don't have to just sit back and get frustrated because they don't know how to express themselves. It starts with you and then you can have once you've gotten that down, you can then have the tools for them, right? Um, so incredibly important. That's the other way. If there's a second way, a second thing that you can do to improve our world today,
Help
do
your
the inner
kids.
work, but then teach your kids, right? And they're going to learn it because they see you doing it. And that's actually the biggest reason. That's my biggest driving force in what I do is the kids. Like they are my passion, my heart and my soul. Like I was a pediatric nurse for 15 years and they've always been my passion and my soul. And every kid on the planet deserves to feel seen and heard and loved and valued, right? Like every person does, but especially every kid. And if you can imagine, even 50% of the children in the world growing up feeling that way, how different our world
Even
would be.
20%. It doesn't take that much. You have
Yes.
20% of the population who's also going to be doubling because their kids will know these tools and skills. These are the things they should teach in school.
Yeah.
They should teach how to be a human being, how to grow food or find food or to prepare food, to feed yourself without going to the grocery store and buying crap that you just open and consume that isn't necessarily food. It
Not
won't
even.
nourish you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How to create a covering, how to sew, how
Yeah.
to, make clothing, and how to build a shelter and find water, potable water.
Yeah.
To even know what the word potable means. It
Exactly.
means
Right. I don't,
drinkable.
kids would look at you like you're crazy. What are you talking about? And not
we're
even kids, adults too, right? And I'm with you on this. Like I think that there's so much needed in getting back to the rudimentary of what it means to be a human and what we need as individuals and not relying on other people to provide those things for us. And it's so easy to get caught up in the modern day life and what that looks like. And when you're my kid, they know what all that is because we garden and we do that stuff. But
Mhm.
when I say things like that's not even real food that you're eating right now, and they look at you and they're like, what are you talking about? I'm eating it. Of course it's food. It's like, just because you put it in your mouth doesn't mean you're nourishing your body. And that doesn't mean you're giving yourself food and fuel. So yeah, absolutely. And how to be a human on the basic level of love and compassion and understanding, right?
just kindness.
Yeah. Have
How
you?
to be kind and how to be curious. Those are
Yeah.
the two skills you need to teach kids. And beyond that, they'll figure stuff out. They'll figure
Yeah.
out what they need to know to produce whatever they're here to produce, to contribute to the world. And it doesn't, you don't, if you need, you do need to know how to read, but
Yeah.
that's a byproduct of being in society with other people and and reading books out loud. That's something that you can do as a community. And then you have a community experience while you're learning to read. Instead of, just go look at your tablet.
Yeah.
Doing things in community teaches us that we're connected instead of disconnected. And when you're disconnected, you're all about victimhood. You're about wanting a quick fix, a pill, um, something that's fast and easy
To make you feel better.
to
Yeah.
make you feel better. I can see why alcoholism and drugs are such a big deal
Yeah.
because it's again, it's numbing, but it's also like a barrier to having an experience, the actual experience that you're having, because you don't know how to process it.
And talk about like addiction in general is that, right? Not just drugs and alcohol, food, scrolling social
Porn,
media,
whatever.
right? Like it's infiltrating our everyday lives now, and it's with things that don't look bad or that are actually accepted. Caffeine. I just was talking to a client the other day. She's decided to cut caffeine out and she went through horrible withdrawals,
Mhm.
the headaches, feeling super tired. And now that she's completely off of it, she's like, why would I ever do that again? Why would I ever put caffeine in my body the way I was before? Because holy cow, that was messing with my mind power. It's messing with my emotions. It's messing with everything. Um, yeah, there was something else that you were saying that I wanted to speak to, and it's gone, so it doesn't matter. It's not meant to be said.
It's all good. I love that you have a method called the root method because it speaks to getting back to nature, and I love trees. Um, tell us a little bit about that and the regulation of your nervous system and how all these things go together.
Yeah. So since I applied to be on your podcast, it's actually evolved into rooted method. Um,
Love that.
and like we were saying, everything's always growing and changing and moving. And
Mhm.
so this is a method that I use for my one-on-one clients, and it's not like a structured framework where we go step by step through this process. It's very much an evolutionary thing where we meet you exactly where you're at, and whatever we need to work on in that moment is what we work on. But so the R is regulate your nervous system. So that's crazy important in our world in general, right? And it's not about learning how to keep your nervous system regulated all the time, because that's not human. That's not realistic. That's not okay. It's about recognizing when you're not regulated and being able to get back to regulation when it's appropriate, right? So that's what that's about. And then the first O is, I'm totally going to botch all this. I feel like I need to pull it up.
You can have notes.
I
It's
know
okay.
I should have pulled that up beforehand. I didn't even like think about that. Let me see if I can
I
pull it
know
up.
we have these things in our head, and it's like, I know what they all are, but oh my God, it's a test.
Exactly. It's like, why do I feel this pressure to like pull it out of my head here?
It's not a test.
And I have such a horrible memory anyway. Like Why do I do this to myself? Okay. The first O is observe and own your emotional world. So, like we spoke about earlier, when you can't even name your emotion, some people aren't even aware they're having an emotion, right? They're so, and I used to be this way. They're so just fight, flight, dysregulated majority of the time that they can't even recognize they're having an emotion. When I remember when my husband used to say things like, "Why are you so angry?" And I'd be like, "I'm not angry."
I'm not angry.
What are you talking about? And I laugh at it now because, oh my gosh, how disconnected was I to my own inner world, right? And that's from my own trauma and reasons
Mhm.
why I was disconnected. But so many, we all have trauma. But so that's the first O, which emotions are everything in my world. And the second O is operate from self trust. So when we learn how to regulate our nervous system and we learn how to own our emotions and operate with them, we can then learn to start trusting what's actually going on inside, right? So
Mhm.
instead of thinking, I'm so angry, this isn't okay, it's not okay to be angry, you start to listen to that anger. Like you said, get curious about the anger. What's going on there? Why is it there? Is it something on the outside that actually does need to be addressed and changed? Or is it just me with my conditioning and my past experiences coming into this? And how can I address that and work through that? So, and a lot of people that I work with, unfortunately, we've given so much of ourselves to other people, right? We are taking care of our husbands, we're taking care of our kids, we're taking care of whatever we're doing in our job, we're taking care of our community, we're pouring into everybody else all the time, that we forget we have ourselves here, and we forget that we can actually trust what's going on here instead of like operating from this headspace and this rationalization space. We can actually operate from what our body is telling us, because our body knows, has so much knowing and so much knowledge and wisdom. So that's where that comes in. The T stands for transforming energy in relationships. This is like the core result of what I do with my clients, is gaining more sustainable energy and finding deeper connection with those you love most, right? So you had talked about, this is actually what came up. It's coming back what I wanted to say earlier. You talked about being in community and how important that is, right? For everything. And oftentimes, the women that I work with are in community and they are surrounded by love and they are surrounded by all these people that care about them and are there for them and are part of their tribe and helping raise their families. However, they are still feeling so incredibly lonely inside. They don't they don't understand what that deep connection actually is and how to achieve that, right? It's very surface level. It's not like an actual like
You
feeling like,
can't be authentic.
exactly. And that's what the E stands for, is express authentically, right? And why do people feel like they can't express authentically? Because they don't feel safe to do so. And so it's that safety in the body that is everything. When you can learn how to be safe here, trust yourself here, literally your entire life changes.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And yeah, I was gonna say something. I'm not gonna go there. So and then the D is deciding and deepening. So like deciding to continue moving through the things that you worked on and deciding to show up authentically, no matter what other people are thinking, right? And that's where the safety comes in, because when you have other people criticizing you, that often feels unsafe. So we get to create the safety within ourselves. It's everything. Yeah.
The funny thing is, when you get beyond the what other people are thinking about you stage, two things. One, most people aren't thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves. And they're wondering what you're thinking about them,
Yeah.
thinking
Yeah.
about you, wondering about what they're thinking about you. And the
Exactly.
and the other thing is, when you reach a point where you realize that and you just don't care. And it's not that you don't care about other people, but you don't care about what they're thinking about. You just show up as you and let those who are attracted to you fill your space and keep boundaries around those who trigger you. I know that's what the block button's for. You need to cultivate the kinds of people you let into your inner circle so that you're not constantly feeling that trigger, and we do all have triggers. There's just like, you said that to me, so it must mean whatever. Um, you need to learn how to put some boundaries up to protect yourself, but you need to be able to just say, I am who I am, take me or leave me. I'm going to be kind and curious. And if I'm not for you, hey, that's okay.
Exactly. Exactly.
Not
And
for everybody.
yeah, and I think that concept is so it's a very mind concept, right? Like we can
Mhm.
rationalize this and it makes sense, but when it comes to actually embodying it and doing that, it can be extremely difficult, right? Because of our conditioning, because of our past experiences, it shows up and like you said, it triggers you. And a lot of the work that I do is surrounded around triggers and like show like just being present in that. And what do we do with a trigger? And yes, we can use the block button. We can, create space and boundaries around people and places and things that make us feel triggered. And we can also learn from our triggers. We can, that's actually what they're doing. It is your body and your nervous system showing you these things that are ready to be worked on and ready to be looked at, right? So spending time with them and acknowledging them, if actually being grateful that they're there to teach you something, is a lot of what I do in our sessions. And um, I could just go on and on about this topic all freaking day because it's my freaking heart.
And I could encourage you, but I'm going
Yeah.
to ask you this question. Where, how do you work with people? Is it all one-on-one? Is it community? Is it a combination of both of
Yeah,
those?
currently it's one-on-one. Um, it's going to be evolving into community and like retreat type style stuff. But right now it's one-on-one and it's all online. So it's super convenient for the busy. We're all busy, you're running around. It's just convenient to hop online and do a session. And you had mentioned it earlier, like the feeling of energy
Hmm.
and the, it blows my mind every time this topic even comes up because the fact that we can be sitting here, I don't even know where you're located. I didn't ask you.
I'm in Arizona right now, but normally I'm in
Oh,
Idaho.
okay. I'm in Arizona. That's so
Where are
funny.
you at in
I'm
Arizona?
in Northern Phoenix.
What city?
Anthem.
I don't know where Anthem is. Do you know where Goodyear is?
Yeah, absolutely. That's
We should
about
get together. We'll talk about
45
it
minutes.
after the show.
I know. That's so random. Well, anyway, besides the point, if you were in Idaho or if you're on the other side of the world and we could connect like this and share energy and share space, like it just blows my mind. So anyway,
In a
um,
space that doesn't actually even exist.
yeah, we could go there if you really want to. Would your
So I'm,
listeners appreciate that tangent or would they be like, what are you talking about, girl?
no, we'll save it for a different one, but I'm totally with you with that one. Earlier,
Yeah.
we talked about how burnout isn't always about doing too much, but carrying what was never meant to be carried. If a woman listening feels seen by that and realizes she's been living in survival mode, what's the first step she can take to begin releasing that load and reconnecting with herself?
Yeah, I would have to say that the very first step that you can take is book a call with me. So I have a session that's called an emotional reset session.
Mhm.
And for any of you that are listening to Jill's podcast here, it's going to be completely complimentary. I want to give that to you. I normally charge $250 for it, but because your audience is so amazing and you're so amazing, I want to offer that complimentary. And what we do on that session is I ask you lots of questions. I get to know you. I get to the root of what is going on with you emotionally, maybe what emotions are holding you back from things that you've been wanting to work on and you haven't been able to. We really dig deep in that. And then I share some resources, ones that are appropriate for you. It's very individualized. And then at the end, we'll talk about if you're wanting further support in this work. And if you do, then we can talk about what that looks like working together further. Um, yeah, I would love to support any of your listeners who are interested and are feeling called to that, called to the inner work that they know. I mean, I just had a conversation yesterday who this is exactly what it is because I was this person. She's like, I've read all the books. I've done the meditations. I've done the sound healing. I've done this. I've done that, da da da, all these things. And I still feel like there's something here. And I'm like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's about that embodiment. It's about teaching yourself, your body, that you are safe when you say you're safe and
Mhm.
trusting that. So that's a little glimpse into what our work could look like together.
I love that. I love that. And I really appreciate you offering the listeners a free session with you. It's really the first step to solving any problem is identifying what the problem is.
Exactly.
So I
Yeah.
highly recommend it. Thank you so much for joining me today, Courtney. This has been a great conversation. I could talk to you all afternoon.
I know. I feel like we really could. We're only like 45 minutes away from each other. We should definitely meet up for coffee or not. I don't drink coffee. I don't know if you do, but something. And it's
Let's meet
beautiful
up
out
for
there.
a walk.
I love that. That's my favorite in the whole wide world. I would love that.
Okay, we'll do
Thank you so
that.
much for having me, Jill. I appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate you joining me. So you can learn more about Courtney and schedule your free emotional reset session by going to CourtneyCoachesWellness.com. There is a direct link that's much longer that I will put in the show notes below, so you can just go directly there instead of having to do the jump to access this. And I do want to thank you for joining us today. If you're ready to amplify your voice, monetize your mission, and start attracting premium clients, your next step is simple. Head on over to thecoachesalchemist.com and schedule your free client acquisition audit. Be sure to join us for our next episode on the You World Order Showcase podcast as we share what others are doing to raise the global frequency. And remember, change begins with you. You have all the power to change the world. Start today and get visible.